Fly High, Understanding Grief with God's Help by Michelle Medlock Adams and Janet K. Johnson. Gracie and Bennett loved helping Mama fill the bird feeders and clean the bird bath. Every day, more birds visited their backyard. Doves, robins, sparrows, wrens, pigeons, red-winged blackbirds, blue jays, cardinals, even the occasional downy woodpecker. But cardinals were Gracie's favorite. "Look," Mama said. "Do you see them?" "See what?" Bennett asked. "The baby birds. There are 3 of them." Gracie ran into the house, grabbed her binoculars, and bolted back to her mother's side. "I'm going to watch over the baby birds until their mama returns," Gracie announced. That night, Gracie worried. "I never saw the mama bird return to her nest, and I watched a long time." "I'm sure she was just out getting food for her babies," Mama said. "Sleep tight, sweetie." But Gracie couldn't sleep. That next morning, they found Mama Bird lying outside the fence. She was hurt. "Oh no," Gracie cried. "Bennett, go get Mama." Mama placed the injured bird in a box and moved her to a safe place. Then she hurried inside to call a veterinarian. Gracie put her arm around Bennett as they sat next to the box, hoping and praying. It seemed like hours since Mama had taken the injured bird to the vet. Gracie kept an eye on the baby birds while Bennett practiced his best bird calls. Finally, the back door opened. Mama reached out her arms and pulled Gracie in for a long hug. "I'm so sorry, sweetie. Dr. Bob did all he could. Sometimes these things just happen." "I don't understand," Gracie cried. Bennett dropped to his knees. "It's not fair," he yelled. "Why couldn't the doctor fix her?" Gracie buried her face in Mama's hug, trying hard to hold back the tears. Bennett kicked over the birdseed container as he ran into the house. Gracie took off her binoculars and threw them. Then she followed after her brother. Mama cleaned up the birdseed and picked up the binoculars. She wasn't mad. She understood. Gracie and Bennett slept inside a tent made of blankets in Gracie's bedroom that night. Being together somehow made them feel better. "Do you think the baby birds are going to be all right without their mama?" Bennett asked. "Absolutely," Gracie whispered. "Absolutely." But she wasn't really sure. When the first glimmer of sunlight shone through the window, Gracie hurried to the backyard with Bennett close behind. "We have to find a way to help the baby birds," Gracie called to Mama. "I need my binoculars." Mama smiled and handed them to Gracie. Gracie pressed the binoculars to her eyes and gasped. "The daddy cardinal is in the nest. He is feeding the baby birds." Let me see," Bennett urged. Mama, Gracie, and Bennett watched the daddy bird and his babies all day. He would fly to the suet feeder, peck off a piece of food, and then fly back to the babies and feed them. Other times, he would fly to the ground, grab a worm in his beak, and feed the worm to his babies. Gracie and Bennett spent the next few days watching the daddy cardinal care for his young. They did their part too. Gracie made sure there was plenty of suet in the feeders, and Bennett made sure the bird bath had lots of water. Squirt, squirt, squirt. "Watch it," Gracie called to Bennett. "You're getting me all wet." Bennett giggled. Gracie couldn't help but giggle too. Can we name the baby birds? Gracie asked. Yes, Mama said. As long as you understand when the babies are strong enough, they will fly away. Gracie and Bennett stared at their feathered friends and tried to think of the perfect names. I've got it, Gracie announced. We will call them Faith, Hope, and Love. Bennett smiled. I think Mama Bird would like that. As days turned to weeks, the baby cardinals grew stronger. Gracie knew it wouldn't be long before they were ready to leave their nest forever. You know we're going to have to say goodbye to them soon, Gracie told Bennett. But I don't want them to go, he cried. I know, it's hard to say goodbye, Mama said. Just like it was hard when we had to say goodbye to the mother bird. But it's almost time for her babies to fly high. One morning, Gracie and Bennett raced outside like usual to watch the Daddy Cardinal care for Faith, Hope, and Love. But he wasn't there, and the babies were outside the nest, perched on a branch, looking so big. Just then, Faith flapped her wings, and in an instant she was in the air. Hope and Love did the same. We'll miss you, Bennett called. Fly high, Gracie whispered. Make your mama proud. You two sure have made me proud, Mama said. Come on, help me fill the bird feeders and put fresh water in the bird bath. That night, Gracie and Bennett crawled into their blanket tent. I miss Faith, Hope, and Love already, Bennett whispered. Me too. Gracie grabbed Bennett's hands for prayer. Dear God, please take care of Faith, Hope, and Love just like you take care of us. And please let our hearts be happy every time we think of them. Amen. Bennett sighed and smiled. What are you smiling about? Gracie asked. I'm just thinking about Faith, Hope, and Love, doing what birds do, flying free, flying high.